I am Harper, 28, and I never thought my accounting degree would end up being my shield against my own family. Numbers were supposed to be boring, rigid, unchanging, but compared to the chaos of my childhood, they became a kind of refuge. You can't manipulate math with guilt trips or tears. 2 plus 2 will always equal 4, no matter how loudly someone shouts. Growing up with parents who treated money like a weapon shaped my adult life in ways I never anticipated. Our house was full of the smell of expensive perfume, leather seats still reeking of dealership polish, and the sound of whispered arguments behind closed doors. When Mom texted about our mandatory family vacation to Hawaii, I felt that familiar knot tighten in my stomach. For us, vacation never meant relaxation. It meant staged photos on beaches, hidden resentment behind sunglasses, and bills that would linger long after the tan lines faded. I wanted to ignore the text, to pretend I hadn't seen it, but some childish part of me, the little girl who still craved a normal family, hoped this time might be different. Before I continue, let me ask you, have you ever had a family member push past your boundaries, maybe even use your credit card without asking? If you have, drop a comment, and if you've ever had to set hard lines with people who should have protected you, hit subscribe. You'll understand this story all too well. The truth is, the roots of our family's unhealthy relationship with money ran deep, twisted into every corner of our lives. From the outside, we looked picture perfect. Dad, Gerald, owned a thriving insurance company in downtown Seattle. He wore sharp suits, spoke with an authority that made waiters scramble, and had the kind of booming laugh people trusted, at least at first. Mom, Diane, was the ideal homemaker, always ready with wine and hors d'oeuvres for whoever stopped by. Our two-story colonial gleamed with fresh paint, a luxury SUV in the driveway, and manicured lawns that neighbors envied. But behind those polished curtains, our financial reality was built on sand. Dad lived by one principle: image is everything. I can still hear him signing loan papers for his third car that year, leaning down to me with that patronizing smile. People do business with successful people, Harper. Nobody trusts a businessman who drives a beater. By the time I was 10, I could tell the difference between a Rolex and an Omega at a glance. I knew which purse brands mattered, which ones didn't. I also knew that whether the bills were paid didn't matter as long as the neighbors thought we were thriving. Mom played her part, too. She was the scoreboard keeper, the one tracking every family in our social circle like it was a competition. The Andersons just booked a cruise to Alaska, she'd announce while stirring pasta sauce. We should do Mediterranean, more exclusive, better photos. It was never about joy or togetherness, it was about winning. Money was never discussed with us kids, at least not honestly. What we saw were sudden bursts of spending followed by tight-lipped arguments. A credit card declined at a restaurant, Mom's forced laugh as she produced a backup. My older brother, James, absorbed the lesson early: spend big, hide the fallout. By high school, he'd already maxed out his first credit card and shrugged it off like it was nothing. Then came the implosion. I was 15 when the carefully crafted image split open. Dad's business, we learned, had been drowning for years. The second mortgages, the temporary loans, the mysterious disappearances of cash, it all came crashing down when Mom found proof of his downtown apartment, and the woman who lived there. The divorce wasn't just ugly, it was apocalyptic. Court filings peeled back layers of lies. The house carried 3 mortgages. The company was worth a fraction of what Dad had claimed. Mom had secret cards, debt he didn't even know about. They screamed in court about assets, debts, and custody, sometimes forgetting I was sitting right there, listening. They fought over who would claim me as a tax deduction, while in the same breath arguing about who wouldn't have to pay for my college. To them, I wasn't a daughter, I was a bargaining chip. So I made a decision: college would be my escape hatch, my way out of their games. Dad dangled business school in front of me, hoping I'd take over his company someday. Mom pushed for law school, trying to recreate her brother's path. I ignored both of them. I chose accounting. Numbers didn't lie, numbers didn't cheat. Those 4 years nearly broke me. 30 hours a week at the campus coffee shop, 15 more tutoring math, and weekends spent catching up on coursework. My social life was practically non-existent. I graduated with $60,000 in debt, but that debt was mine, honestly earned. For the first time, I knew exactly where I stood. My first job at a mid-size firm in Portland felt like winning the lottery: a steady paycheck, benefits, a 1-bedroom apartment with second-hand furniture and a tiny balcony where I could sip coffee in peace. The day I taped my diploma to the wall, I felt lighter than I had in years. That modest space was more than an apartment, it was independence. But independence, in my family, painted a target on your back. First it was Mom, just a small loan. Honey, the condo bathroom is falling apart. Then Dad, temporary cash flow issue, help your old man out. James wasn't far behind, it's just co-signing. Harper, my credit's trashed from the divorce, it's not fair. Their voices always carried urgency. Their payback promises were as vague as smoke. After I handed Mom $3,000 for her bathroom project and never saw a cent returned, or even proof the bathroom got fixed, I hit my breaking point. That's when I found Dr. Winters, my therapist. She didn't sugarcoat it. Your financial health is part of your self-care, Harper, she told me. You wouldn't let family damage your physical health. Your financial boundaries deserve the same protection. It took 2 years of therapy before I finally built a policy for myself. No loans to family. Gifts only, if I chose, within my budget, with no strings. No co-signing, no shared accounts, ever. Full transparency about these rules, even if it sparked conflict. And oh, did it spark conflict? Dad reframed his asks as investments. Mom tried emotional blackmail. If you loved me, you wouldn't let me struggle. James pouted, accused me of thinking I was better than him. Each time, I repeated my boundaries. Each time, the blowback stung, but less and less with each round. By the time I turned 27, they had mostly stopped asking, not because they respected me, but because they'd worn themselves out trying. At family dinners, I'd still hear the digs. Harper and her rules. Harper, the stingy accountant. But I could handle that. What I couldn't handle was what came next, a group text that shattered the fragile peace, exposing just how little my family truly respected me. Tension rose like static in the air as I crossed the parking lot. The late afternoon sun cast long shadows, and every step toward the man waiting by my building made my stomach tighten. My father leaned casually against his black Lexus, as though this were some ordinary visit, but the way my keys dug into my palm reminded me, nothing about this was ordinary. Harper, sweetheart, he said, pushing himself off the car and extending his arms for a hug. His smile looked rehearsed, stretched too wide, like the one he used when closing a deal. I stopped short. Why are you here, Dad? My voice came out sharper than I expected. I clutched my keys tighter, a makeshift shield. And how did you know where I live? I never gave you this address. He chuckled dismissively, brushing my concern away like lint on his jacket. Your mother has it in her emergency contacts list. Relax. I just wanted to talk about this little misunderstanding with the tickets. There is no misunderstanding. My feet carried me toward the security door, each step deliberate. Mom used my credit card without permission to buy $18,000 worth of airline tickets. That isn't a misunderstanding, that's fraud. His smile faltered, just slightly, but he followed me anyway. Your mother was just trying to help everyone be together. You know how important family is to her. She said you two had talked about covering the costs. I froze at the door, turning to face him. That conversation never happened. I never agreed to pay for anyone's flights, let alone first-class tickets. Well, he said, shifting tactics like a salesman sensing resistance. There may have been a communication error, but now the whole family is upset. Your mother is in tears. James and Stephanie already put in for vacation time. This is creating a real problem. A familiar pressure squeezed my chest, the old compulsion to smooth things over, to fix what my parents had broken. But Dr. Winter's words rang in my mind. You did not cause this. You cannot control this. You are not responsible for curing it. I steadied myself. The problem started when Mom stole my credit card information and accessed my email without permission. I reversed the charges and reported the fraud. That's the only appropriate response. The mask slipped, Dad's face flushed, and his jaw tightened. He stepped closer, lowering his voice but not his anger. After all we've done for you, this is how you repay us? By accusing your mother of theft? By ruining a family vacation everyone was excited about? I searched his face, then asked quietly, what exactly have you done for me, Dad? You refused to pay for college unless I studied what you wanted. I worked multiple jobs. I took on loans. I've supported myself since I was 18. His voice cracked into a shout. We gave you life. We raised you, clothed you, fed you, and now you've got your fancy job and your nice apartment, and you can't even help your family with one vacation? One chance for everyone to be together? My pulse hammered. I slipped my phone from my pocket, opened the voice memo app, and hit record. If he was going to keep escalating, I needed proof. Did you know Mom was going to use my card? I asked, keeping my tone steady. He faltered, then sighed, his shoulders slumping a little. We discussed options. Your brother's credit is maxed from the divorce. Your cousin Travis is between jobs. Your mother's cards are near their limits from the renovations. So you decided to use mine without asking? We were going to tell you after, he admitted, trying to frame theft as strategy. Your mother thought you'd be more agreeable once everything was booked. That way, you couldn't back out. The casual way he said it made my stomach turn. This wasn't desperation. This was calculation. I pressed harder. Have you and Mom done this before? Used other people's cards? His silence said enough, but finally he muttered. Your brother needed help last year, couldn't qualify for a loan, so your mother used Jessica's card. Jessica was upset at first, But once we explained it was a family emergency, she came around. I felt cold all over. So this is a pattern. You and Mom just take what you want from whoever has available credit. Don't be dramatic, he snapped. The mask fully gone now. Families share resources. You have plenty of money, barely any expenses. You could afford this trip if you weren't so selfish. I'm ending this conversation. I reached for the scanner. Please leave, or I'll call security. That's when he grabbed my arm. His grip was iron, his eyes blazing. You need to fix this before it gets worse, he hissed. Your mother already told everyone you generously bought the tickets. If you cancel now, you'll tear this family apart. Do you really want to be the one who destroys our chance to be together? I yanked free, my skin stinging where his fingers had pressed. What I want, I said evenly, is for my family to respect boundaries and laws. Using someone's card without permission is illegal. I will not protect you or Mom from the consequences anymore. His face twisted, spitting venom now. You ungrateful little, we should have known you'd turn out like this. Always thinking you're better than us with your fancy degree and your budgets. If you dispute those charges, don't expect to be welcomed at family gatherings again. You'll be cut off, completely. I lifted my phone so he could see the glowing red recording symbol. Thank you for making your position so clear. This conversation is over. His eyes widened. For once, he had no comeback. He turned on his heel, stormed to the Lexus, and screeched out of the lot without another word. Inside my apartment, the adrenaline drained, leaving me shaking. I collapsed onto the couch, clutching the phone like a lifeline. Then the notifications started. James, I'm so sorry. I knew they were planning something, but I didn't know they'd use your card. They did the same to me once. Can we talk tomorrow? Jessica, just heard what happened. They used my card last year for James' car repairs. Said it was a family emergency. Cost me $3,000 I never got back. The truth landed heavy. This wasn't a one-time lapse in judgment. This was a system, a pattern of financial abuse spanning years, hidden behind the word family. And for the first time in my life, I realized I wasn't the only one they had been stealing from.